ザー、早くしなさい。オーケー。Let's go!
Yeah. So, got a little stream, do we? Let's go. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, looks like we've got a crowd. This. So wins or not, you don't just tie those. You live them. You know? Oh, Sumo. Hello. So yeah, what's going on, guys? You know, we gotta listen. This is a full costume. You know, this is stem to stern. Hello. This is full makeup. This is we out like you know, because I'm not crazy. No. But yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Stem just yeah. You know? This stream almost didn't happen because I woke up this morning feeling like hot garbage. You know what I'm saying? Hot garbage. Hello, Alex VRB. Yes. Yes. But yeah, what's going on, guys? We're doing a little Halloween, little Wiener Hal. You know what I mean? Drinking our drink. Listen, don't you guys don't love the full on character that's being displayed right now? You know, the scars. The scars were actually hard to do with that modeling stuff. You know, get that Glastonbury smile. You know. Oh, thanks, Sumo. You know, but yeah. Also, it's going to be hard to see this chat. This guy right here. If I hold it over here, I can see Sumo says, "Great costume, Jay." You know what I mean? This is what it is. You know what I'm saying, Sumo? Sometimes you just got to come in there and slide it in. You know? But yes, I didn't go full jacket. I didn't go full like gloves, the whole bit. I'm in the jail scene. Even the makeup's a little lighter for the part where he's in the jail and he's getting interrogated. That's the where I went. You know what I mean? Everything's not as perfect as it should be. Does it disturb you, Dale? Like the lack of vitamin D you have inside you? You know? That's all I'm saying. Shelby, what? No, like I listen. I live so far out in the middle of nowhere. I seen one car drive by my place tonight. You know what I mean? So there, there was no kids. There was no trick or treaters. There was nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Listen, I'm turning the trick and I'm the treat. You know what I mean? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes. Yeah. Like why? Why? Ooh. Yes. You know, and that's how you got to do it. You gotta be out here. You know, you don't always have to be firing it up. You know, sometimes you just have to be a little less serious. You know, yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, the transition went well. They say, but I don't know if I believe them. I'm having doubts. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. You know, oh yes, I'm about to jump on that chat roulette. Oh no, I can't even say what I want to say right now. Damn. No. But I know what you mean, Shelby. I know what you mean. You know? Yeah. Too many ketchup chips. You know? Crazy about them. Delicious. Yeah. Buffet Heath Ledger. Oh, Bullet Bullet Heath. Listen, I barely see these things. Like, like, hey, Scamps, what's going on? How you doing? Yeah. Was he a drinker? Oh, you know. See, look. Okay, Scamps. Did you see the full? Look at this. It's full. Oh, you know. You know what I'm saying? It's how you got to roll sometimes. You know. And we had a young Phil Diaz whose nose was being destroyed by his costume, calling me out, saying that I wasn't going to do a good costume this year, and if I did the crow, it might be too repetitive. So I didn't do it. You know? So that's why we're here. Listen, A1, nobody has cash to buy Reenie art. Oh, damn. No, is this the part where I start going off? It's overpriced. Simps paying too much for it. Raising the bar for everyone, lowering it for others. Anyway, sometimes I don't know what happened there. Whoa. Whew. Man. Yeah, it's just, hey, sometimes things get out of hand. You know what I mean? Inflation, hoflation. You know what I mean? Inflation. Yeah. But anyway, you know, that's how it is. Let's see. Jay's father was Terry Silver. Terry stuck a blade in Jay's mouth. He said, "Why so serious?" That's true. It's just science. You know. So you got this delicious hair. You know what I'm saying? It's a good look. You know. Sometimes you gotta tie these Windsor knots. Just how it is. I don't know why it's that way. Who plays my slots? I do. That is a Jet Set Radio skill slot machine. You know? Listen. So it's the ultimate knot. It's the way to be. You know? If you're not doing the Windsor knot, then you're just not doing it. You know? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If you're good at something, never do it for free. You know? And I don't. That's just how it is, you know? It's just the way you want it to be. You know, I guess I got to keep it real, right? And do the proper background music, right? You need the little bump up, bump up, bump. You know, we're serious now. It's a serious stream, but not really. You know? Yeah. All the lip licking is for sumo now. Oh. Also, all the hair getting in my mouth is not for sumo. You know what I mean? See, look, Shelby, you didn't even dress up for Halloween. You didn't do anything. I mean, I wasn't going to. I almost didn't. I almost just stayed in bed. I woke up and I felt like I was like hit by a truck. My eyes hurt in the light. For a good 4 hours, I just slept. It sucked, you know. But then you persevere. You know, you have a hamburger. You grab a shower, shave. You get ready for work. You know. And sometimes that's the important part. The important part is showing sometimes. You know what I mean? You don't always have to, you know, put in 110%, maybe 75. You know, that's all I'm saying. What about 75%? Yeah, maybe I did. Who can say? Who can say? But you know, that's how it is. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes Terry Moore who gets what he's got going. Sometimes it's Ted Danson. Who knows? You know, that's a real question. You know, sometimes you play the card you're handed. Sometimes it's this Pokemon card. You know? Ooh. You know what I mean? That's it. That's the thing. why wash? Yeah, listen, like, why wash when you can wear it? You know, like sometimes you have to ask yourself these very important questions. Like, you know, what's going on? I didn't buy cards for this outfit. No, I had this Pokemon. There's a camera there. This card. This is like the only Pokemon card I own, and it just happens to be here. And I go like this, and I go ooh, like the movie. Got a Joker card. Ooh. He's like, oh, why so serious? Ooh. You know. So that's it. Yeah, listen, I feel sorry about it. You know, Andy shouldn't choose sleep ever. You know what I mean? Like, I think Andy sleeps too much. Like, does Andy get a good 8 hours every night? That seems wrong. I don't have an X2 promo card. I don't collect cards. I'm not a card collector. You know what I'm saying? I don't collect hockey cards. I don't collect baseball cards. I don't collect X-Men cards. I do have all the Wizard foil cards in sleeves, though, from back then, right? When you got a Wizard and you got the card, you know? I got that weird webbed Spider-Man one that's all, like, hooked, you know, and it's all chromium. You know? That kind of thing. That's all I'm saying. You know? It is what it is. You know? I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. Not getting enough respect. Get no respect. You know? Yeah. Don't listen. I don't need to be mailed any cards. Nobody wants them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I put in the mail are union cards. You know what I mean? I ship it directly out to Andy, but not Andy, Edwin. Man, what if I shipped that union card to Andy? That would be the funniest thing ever. You know? Listen, everybody always wants to mail me something. I'm not looking to get mail. You know what I mean? Not looking to get things in the mail. You know? I'm not. Don't send me things in the mail. Any of you. Stop it. You know? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying our mail service is crazy. Things aren't getting out to people, you know? And I just want to watch the world burn. You know? That's it. You're gonna mail me a ska compilation from 19. Damn it, Henry Bemis. What? I will only accept mail from me. Don't say I'm public. Listen. Some things are best left unsaid, scamps. You know what I mean? You know, like sometimes you just, you know, sometimes you get the mail and sometimes the mail gets you. You know what I mean? I bet you do. See, and I was toying around. We're all strangers in paradise around here. Yep, that's true. That's true. Strangers in a strange paradise. Now, see, I was toying around. Hold on, see if we can find it. Right? As the strangers we are. Right? Yeah, I was toying around with like running a background, you know, and just being like this all night, like being like, "Ooh, Batman, where are you?" Oh. You know. So I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. You know, I could be like, "Ooh, Dark Knight Returns. Let's go." You know? That's all. I'm just saying. Maybe do the band cover? Like the ska band? Strangers in Paradise Ska? Yeah, Strangers in a Gangster's Paradise. Yeah. We don't know if we're going to ink it right. We're living in a Strangers in a Gangster's Paradise. Yeah, that's fair. You know? Terry Moore is in a delight. He's living in a gangster's paradise. He won't ink that issue tonight. He's living in a gangster's paradise. You know? You know what I'm saying? Oh, hello. What's going on? Alex VRB sliding up in here. What up, Ninja? How you doing? You know? Yeah. Oh, what's going on? Angela, how you doing? Yes, Mr. J is here. You know, that's how it is. You know? See, now, here's the thing. If Heath hadn't died, right? If I hadn't died in that movie, you know, would we've gotten a good Harley Quinn? That's what I'm wondering. You know? Would we've gotten a good Harley? I'd like to think so. That's just me. You know? You know, because everybody needs their Harley Quinn. You know what I mean? Need their partner in crime, their sidekick, or their half, a piece to the puzzle. You know? Ah, yes. It's the perfect time to have Angela come on for you as Mr. J. Yep. That's fair. That's fair. What's going on? Buzz, the Ace, Edwin, Ace of Buzz, Acevedo. How you doing? Happy Halloween. Merry Christmas. You know, all that stuff. Oh. Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So yeah, what's everybody doing tonight except for watching this nonsense? You know what I mean? Like, I assume nothing, right? Like, because I'm doing nothing but this, and you guys are watching this, so we're all not really doing anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's Scamp saying? Listen, Scamps. You raise a good option. You know what I mean? Like that's a high. It's a high. You know, option. That's a top level. You know, that's like voting with your wallet kind of option. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a great hope. I'd buy that for $1. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was good. So everybody's here. They're watching. Oh, someone was watching Reenie's auction, but it's an eBay. Oh, is that what that is? That's stupid. Okay, right now, that's the dumbest shit I've heard all night, Sumo. Thank you. When I heard there was an auction, I thought it was an auction where they would run the auction on the stream. You would purchase the thing live on the stream. People would bid. You know, they'd go $30 bid. And now it's some stupid eBay thing. Why? Okay. Why does anybody do stream, like sell auction art on eBay? Why do you want to give eBay and PayPal a cut of your fucking money? That's the stupidest shit I've heard all fucking night. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can just sell it directly to somebody, why cut eBay into it at all? You know? Like, somebody's got to pay. You know? It's not me. I haven't paid taxes since 1972. You know? But yeah, like, why would you want to bother having it on eBay? Like, they're going to send you the PayPal money anyway, or Venmo, or whatever. Right? Well, listen, I know it's the same people in the stream. I guarantee Moromi's there. I could name you everybody who is there purchasing art right now. I can name you the 5 guys that are there purchasing art. She's never going to marry you guys. It's never going to happen. She's just got a nicer kitchen now. You fucking idiots. Like, what? You know? That's all there is to it. That's all there is. You know? Oh, damn. Is it Zoe Quinn? 5 guys? Damn. Yeah. But yeah, I think the eBay thing is done. No, I'm not saying there's a chance, Sumo. There's definitely not a chance. There's zero chance. Zero chance. You know? There's no chance. Yeah. I'm not crazy. Don't worry about it. Oh, hey, Aldous. What's going on? How you doing? What's going on? And listen, one of these days, Scamps, we're gonna give one of these ladies a forever home. You know what I mean? That's the thing, right? Like, there's somebody out there for you. You know what I mean? You give them a forever home. Like for now, right? Like you're just fostering these women, but one of these days, you'll give them the forever home they need. You know? You know? I think that'd be a good look for you, Scamps. You know? But that's just me. You know? I'm out here burning things to the ground, running riot. You know? You're gonna send me some of my expired contact lenses, Jay. Will make reading and chat half as hard. Well, it's not it's not fully hard. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I hate contacts. I don't like touching my eyes. You know what I mean? One of those people. You know, like what's that movie where they go to stick the needle in the guy's eye and it like shows it from the camera angle of the needle, and then when the needle goes in his eye, it does this like watery sploosh thing. And it's the grossest thing on planet Earth, right? Like I would rather like fight wolves than have somebody like fucking touch my eyes. You know what I mean? That's just me. You know? Mm. Yeah, but it's like I don't watch. Okay, here's the thing, right? Like I don't watch a lot of like gore porn or hostile type or like stuff where it's like, oh, I've got to like cut off my own arm with a razor blade to escape this thing. Like, you know, it's this long, drawn out process of them cutting themselves and ripping their own arm off or whatever. You know, I like schlock horror. You know, I like, you know, see, like, okay, here's the thing. Jason X is a terrible movie. It's like one of the worst fucking movies ever made. Right? Like it's like it looks like as a Canadian, it looks like a bad Canadian like TV show, right? Like Andromeda or one of those like, you know, like Xena or something like that. It looks like a bad Canadian TV show, but there's one scene in Jason X that makes the entire movie worth existing. And that's the holodeck scene where the two nude girls are there going, Jason, Jason, and then he's like slamming them against the tree in a sleeping bag. Because it's a callback to another Jason scene. And that's the only reason why that movie deserves to exist. Otherwise, that movie is hot garbage. But that one scene. Listen, Sumo. Trailer Park Boys, Degrassi, all kinds of stuff that you guys grew up watching was made in Canada. You know, you can't do that on television. Exactly, Henry Bemis. Like I said it as I was looking over and seeing it pop up. You can't do that on television. You know? Yes, Jonavision. Oh my God, that was literally filmed like down the street from where I used to live. Like ridiculous. And then the Jonavision guy, the host of Jonavision, is now a guy. He's like a regular dude on Trailer Park Boys. You know? But yeah, that's just what it is. You know, Letterkenny. Yeah. All right. See? Like I just don't think you guys. I like what I find entertaining about like Americans and America is that like we have like a tenth of the population. Right? Like it's like what, like 47 million people, and you guys have like almost 400 million people, yet like a ton of your actors, artists, musicians that are popular are from Canada. Like a ridiculously large amount compared to what your guys' output is, right? It's pretty entertaining to me that like for such a small population, it has such a dramatic effect on another country. You know, listen, Sumo. You can't joke here. Do you see? Huh? You joking with this? Motherfucker, you can't joke with this. You ain't joking with shit. Unfucking real. You don't play. God damn. Canadians aren't sensitive. That's the thing. Most Canadians are assholes, right? Like, it's not even like, you know. I think the difference between Canada and the States is common courtesy. People don't say sorry all the time like you motherfuckers run around saying. Nobody fucking says that. It's like, Jesus Christmas. Like, but like the reality is there's a bit more common courtesy in Canada than there is in the States. I've been to the States a handful of times. You know, more common courtesy just in general, like for people who don't know each other. And I think that's something that the States doesn't have. You know, and maybe it does in some communities. Like, I'm not going to write the entire, you know, southern part of this continent off. You know what I mean? But just in general, from like what I've experienced and what like most people experience in the States, is there's just a general lack of common courtesy. You know? You know, it's like the lost art. I think it's a lost art in general, right? Like just with humanity. Like, I think a lot of people don't extend grace or common courtesy to anyone anymore, right? It's like, you know, like especially like in the last 5 years, there was that whole kind of like you would say something like 10, 15 years ago, and they'd be like, oh my God, you said something racist 10 years ago. And I'm like, bitch, like even in early 2000s, it was way less racist than it is now. Right? Like there's this like weird like bigotry of low expectations. You got all these Karens running around like assuming that like all these different minorities and whatever can't even find the DMV. Like just this weird ass shit, right? And so then you're stuck like being like, do I try to like work around these people, or do I just go, I don't give a fuck if someone thinks that something I'm saying is bigoted or racist or whatever? And I chose the not give a fuck part long ago. You know, but like that, but that's the thing, right? Like if you're going to live your life worried about what other people think about what you say in regards to like just reality, like blanket reality, right? Like where you're out there and you're like, hey, this is how things are. And they're like, that's racist. And you're like, no, but literally cities are burning. Literally people like, you know, the crime rate shows this. These numbers aren't lying, right? Like, and so, yeah, like, right. Like you can't, that's the thing, right? You can't say, oh, a person who drives a transportation truck should know English and know the signs and be able to read them. That's somehow racist. Like, no, that's fucking logic, right? Like if somebody who's driving a giant transfer truck across your country, they should be able to simply read the signs and understand what they mean, right? Like that to me is a given. It's not a maybe, it's not a culture thing. It's not bigoted to expect the bare fucking minimum. And that's kind of the problem with where we are as a society. It's like the weird, like toxic empathy where like everybody just assumes that everybody on the fucking planet needs some parent's help somewhere and they can't survive without them, you know? And then we got like all these like just crazy kids who think that they're like fucking ostriches and frog self and all this nonsense. It's fucking wild. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it at all. You know? What are we saying here? I said something racist today. These guys need to keep up. Listen, it's true, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you can't go a day. I think I've come out of focus. Hold on. Hi. Oh. But yeah, right? Like, oh, I'm super out of focus. What's going on? I'm going to touch this, and it's going to get the focus in my hand. There we go. All right. You know, we're still good. You do 2 things every day. Take your vitamins and say so. Listen. and it can't be helped, right? Like it can't really be helped. And it's not like, here's the thing though, like I feel like, okay, in the early 2000s, I worked with and around a way larger variety of people and races, right? Like early 2000s comic book shop. I was managing like 2 comic book shops for like 6 or 7 years. And like before that, I worked at like this was when I was like in my teens, right? Like 18, 19 or whatever. And I worked like in an EB Games for a couple of years. And like, you know, I've had these conversations. Like I used to work with this Marshall guy, and he was black. Surprise, surprise, Kel Surprise. And we used to talk about stuff all the time, right? And like, you know, and I said to him, was like one day, because we were good friends. We were like really good friends. And so we, you know, we were talking about stuff, and like this older black guy was in the store. And, you know, he came and he talked to Marshall, and they left. Like, you know, and then I was talking to him, we were joking around. And I said, if I walked up to you, like if I went to go get a pop, and I walked back in the store, you know, and I said, like, what's up, my ninja with hard R, you know, like, what's up? And I said, if he was there, what do you think would happen? He's like, probably nothing. But if you left, he would ask me why that I was allowed to talk to him like that, right? He said, I know you mean nothing by it because we're friends and you're joking. But he said the older guy would be like upset about it, right? And then and this was like 20 plus years ago. We would have these conversations about stuff. Like things were way cooler, and people could actually just talk about stuff with, like, you know, because like I have like Korean and Vietnamese friends and Chinese friends and Japanese friends, the whole gambit of Asians. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, so I would just ask them like cultural things. Like back then, we'd be talking about stuff. You know, and they'd be talking about like stuff with their girlfriend or how they had to treat their parents and all, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. And same with like, you know, like Marshall, like, right. We would talk about that stuff. And it was one of those things where I feel like early 2000s, it was like, I never even heard like people being like super racist towards each other in a way that people are now. Right, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and so it's interesting to me that it's like, but it's not like from people on the right, right? Like it's weird, like, and it's a weird thing because like I always kind of like, you know, early on, like, right, if you're an artist, right, and a creator and all that kind of stuff, right, you tend to kind of fall a little left, right, like old school left. Right, like, you know, where you know, free speech and all that kind of stuff, like that left, right? And so you used to be able to like be for those things and be like cool with it because you were a creator, right? You didn't want people stifling creativity, right? So you were like, hey, free speech is really important, right? And so like with just by that definition now, you know, I've been pushed. Like, and like everybody has been pushed very far to the right, right? Like if you don't agree with all the crazy DEI and politically, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Identity politics. Like if you're not cool with all that stuff, and you're not like, you know, doing the oppression Olympics. You're automatically to the right now, right? Like just normal, sane, even libertarian kind of people are kind of pushed that way, right? And so it's very bizarre to just kind of like see that crazy shift, and then see like okay, and then you see like the kind of like the gays for Palestine thing. That one's a head scratcher to me. Like I'm just like, you know, if you were gay and you were in Palestine, do you know they would like stone you to death, throw you off a roof, and behead you, and probably not necessarily in that order? You know, it's like chickens for KFC. You know, you're going to get put in 11 herbs and spices and shoved in the deep fryer. Yeah, I shave sumo. Well, full shave. You know, head to toe. You know what I'm saying, buddy? Stem to stern. Yeah. You know. But yeah, like it's just like it's a really like the propaganda is so like fucking deep and thick and weird. You know, it's so crazy, right? Like I can't imagine. Like I couldn't imagine having a child right now who's like in their 20s, because like I have a nephew and he's younger and he doesn't seem like he seems normal. He seems like a normal kid, right? And I've played Fortnite with him and his friend was giving him shit and I was like, okay, these guys give each other shit. They're normal, right? And I was relieved, right, that there was not any weird ass stuff. And then they asked me what 6'7" meant and I knew what it meant and they thought that was cool. Which entertained the hell out of me, right? And so yeah, so there's hope. I feel like there's hope for the next generation, right? But like it's so crazy to see that like there's this like it reaches up and there is some Gen X, and there are some boomers who are like kind of like pulling the ladder up with them and are doing like this toxic empathy thing, like, you know, let's go, oh, you can't deport people who shouldn't be here. And it's like, this is why, like, okay, here's the thing. Kids used to work at McDonald's in the summer, right? They'd work at McDonald's in the summer. That was not an adult's job. You know what I mean? Like you had a 16-year-old, he flipped burgers on the weekend and after school. And then when he got into college, like, you know what I mean? Like that was like a entry level job that got you in the door, right? Into the economic marketplace, right? And, you know, but now it's like you go to any fast food place, any restaurant or whatever, no kids. Like, you know what I mean? It's like some old Indian lady like at the drive-through or whatever. And it's just like, well, where are kids working? Like if every job is being taken up for them by all these people who just flooded into the country, what does the workplace look like in the future? Like it doesn't have a future if you keep replacing it, and then these kids can't get jobs and can't get up into any kind of like regular workforce. It's defeating itself like from the jump, right? And so yeah, I just shake my head at it all, right? Like I'm baffled by it all. Listen, here's my thing about the 6'7" sumo. We as Gen X and boomers monopolize the culture, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people still talk about things that happened in the G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that stuff. It's just constantly pulled through the generations, right? And so a lot of these kids don't have anything and they don't want our hand-me-downs, right? So they just reject it outright. But the culture, like, that's why like that She-Ra show happened, right? You just got this dumb little 22-year-old who somehow, because she wrote a comic book, somehow they thought it was a fucking bright idea to give her an animated series, right? Like, and so you get this really dumb She-Ra reboot that's about going to fucking prom and shit, right? So it's like this weird, like, stolen youth thing, but they don't respect anything that's come before them, so they make garbage. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, millennial humor is trash, and it ruins video games, it ruins, like, you know, comic books, all that stuff, right? Like, they're just this weird lost generation, and they're fucking terrible. They're like just so terrible, like the millennials and zoomers and shit. It's fucking painful, like, because they don't create anything good. Like, there's the occasional one, like you have these odd people, like, you know, you'll have like a young Noah Mactudis, let's say, who's been kind of coming up, and like his roots are in the old school, right? Like he likes looking at Capullo, he likes looking at McFarlane, likes looking at like a lot of this stuff. But then he also like looks at modern stuff, looks at manga and looks at anime and looks at like, you know, random girls drawing, you know, in that style on the internet and sends them to me. He goes, "What do you think of this?" And so yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like there's hope for, I feel like, some, like, you know, it's like it's not a catch all, but it's a majority, right? Like of people who suck in that generation. Because like I think a lot of the problem is us. I think the problem with a lot of it is like nothing is theirs and everything is ours still, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so they don't have their Transformers, they don't have their GI Joe, they have our GI, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so I get the instinct to destroy things that aren't yours, right? Instead of respecting them, instead of having any reverence for them. And that seems like what that whole generation is about, right? Is just, we didn't make it, so let's fucking make it worse and let's get rid of it. Let's tear it all down, right? Without understanding even why anything should be torn down, right? In the first place. You know, I don't know. Yeah, but like, but here's the thing, right? Like, one, like if you grew up with the '80s stuff, but you enjoy anime better, it's because anime, for the most part, hasn't changed in the same way all of our other media changed in the last like 10, 15 years, right? Like, we were on a good course, you know, and around, I'm going to say around 2010, 2011, everything started getting bad. What's kind of funny is I have this Tori. I should do a fucking video on this sometime. I have the Tori Amos tattoo book, and it's like an anthology, right? And you're saying to yourself, Jay, you hate anthologies. Why'd you buy this? Because it had like Eric Kennedy and it had a whole bunch of people in it, right? But if you look at a lot of the people who were coming up in that book, a lot of the writers, there are a lot of the writers who fucking ruined comics 5 years later. It's pretty interesting. You know, the one what's the one that says, like, you know, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Like, she has a couple stories in it, stuff like that. It's an interesting thing. And then by the time you get to 2015, 2016, it's like a full on like takeover. Right? Like, take over, the breaks over, right? And then Fall Out Boy starts fucking playing. And so like that's the interesting thing, right? And there's like this really, I think it's like X-Men Genesis or one of these collected things. And it has like 3 or 4 issues of Joe Mad art in it. And it's this beautiful Joe Mad art, and it's like all what's it, Medusa and Black Bolt, you know, the Inhumans. There we go. I had to walk through their names. It's an Inhuman story, and it's like them fighting and stuff, and Joe Mad's drawing these amazing, you know, scenes and stuff. And then like it gets to the point where his work is done here. His beautiful art, the story, everything doesn't have a slight woke thing in it, right? Like, if that's what you want to call it. And then you flip the page to the next story, and then it's like this black kid who's a mutant getting his power, and like you can see it's like literally a fucking page turn. You could see where comics go bad. You could see it, right? Like, it's so crazy. And like it leaves Joe Mad's arc of this book, and then it goes into this other thing, and like the whole thing, like, if you want to use mutants and superheroism and all that kind of stuff as an allegory, an analog, or fucking metaphor, whatever the fuck you want to use it as, if you want to use that as like a indication or a way to tell stories about being an outcast and everybody's an outcast and blah blah blah, right? Like, the mutant thing is already there. It's already hammering the point home, right? And like, you know, and so it's like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, or that it shouldn't have to be spelled out for you that is the metaphor of being an outcast, right? Like being a mutant and all that stuff, and you know. But then they just hammer down the whole time that this kid's black. He's black, but he's a mutant, but he's also black, and people are racist against him, not because he's a mutant, but because he's black, right? And so there are just like however many issues after that, and I was like, wow, like it's not even like subtle storytelling. It's not elegant. It's not leading. Like the best stories make you think in a way you never thought before, or reconsider how you think about things, right? And so when someone's just pounding you over the top of the head the whole time, like racism bad, racism bad, racism bad, racism bad, you're just like, duh? Like, can you move the story along? Can you tell an actual story without hitting me over the head every panel with this thing, right? And it was such a stark contrast to the first like 3 or 4 issues that Joe Mad did, cutting into this, and it was just like, what is this? Like, what is this writing? What is, like, why do we have to literally like hammer it into the ground, right? Like it was such a like infantile, childish way to be like, look over there, 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 right? Like, instead of just being like, hey, this kid's having a tough time, people are shitty to him, he has mutant powers, he doesn't understand his life or how things are going to go for him, it sucks. Tell that story. That's the important story. Don't tell the story where racism bad all the time. Everyone fucking knows that. Even if they're racist, they know it's not great. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, you know, but like, that's the thing, right? Like the storytelling got lost, right? Like we literally had like 10 plus years stolen, right? Like, you know, you got like the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, Golden Age, all that stuff. I want everyone to look back on this age. I think we're kind of coming out of it now, but like this age that we just had for the last 10 or so years as like the stolen age of comics, because it's fucking terrible. Like, right, you just had like this infestation of these garbage people come in, write this nonsense garbage propaganda, ruin everything, destroy characters who've been great for decades, you know, and not care about it, right? And like that's the kind of weird problem, right? Like, because now that you've destroyed everything, right? You've taken everything that was good and destroyed it. Who comes in and rebuilds? Like, do a bunch of us rebuild all that stuff, or do we just say fuck it, right, and make our own shit and hope that it stands up, right? Like, you know, and people suddenly value storytelling again. So people value pacing and art again, right? Because a lot of these books, like you had good artists, working on the most garbage shit, and then you had a ton of incredible artists that their phone wasn't ringing. They weren't working at Marvel, they weren't working at DC, they weren't doing anything of note, right, for the last like 10 or 15 years, right? It's like depressing to see how a bunch of these guys who would have, like, you know, literally been in their prime, right, like, and the storytelling capabilities that a lot of these guys would have had, just got left by the wayside, right? Like they fell out of fashion when the fashion was supposed to still be there, right? Like, you know, it's like good storytelling shouldn't go out of style, but they didn't want to like pound people over the head with propaganda, so they got shown the door, right? Like, you know, or quietly shuffled aside, right? Like, you know, because like, I mean, they had Claremont. Like, this is the craziest fucking thing about the comic book industry. You have somebody like a Chris Claremont just on deck. He's just sitting there. He's waiting. He's got his bat in hand. He's waiting to go. You know, sports metaphor, right? Like, you know, he's there. He could just boom home runs. You know, you got Louis Simonson. You got all these writers, like incredibly good writers and artists, right? Nope. We decided we're just going to pay Chris Claremont to sit in the dugout. You know, just give him just a little stipend here and there. You know, but we don't want him to write anything. That'd be ridiculous. Why would we fucking do that? It's I don't know. It's very bizarre to me. It really is. Like I don't understand. Like and here's the thing. Like I don't understand why all the shepherds of the industry just fucked off and let it happen. Right? Like that's the weird part to me. Like all like the Dan DiDios, the Jim Lees, everybody who was in power and could just hire good artists and writers just chose not to. Just chose to like look the other way and let everything turn to shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't understand. Like, if you're like, that's the thing. If you're in power at these companies, if you're a hirer and a firer kind of guy, why are you listening to anyone who's like, no, we have to ruin these characters? Like they're like if someone's presenting you, right? They used to have editors. They used to have people who manage the lore, so to speak, and we're like, hey, you can't do that. You can't even though you're Frank Miller, you can't do that with Daredevil, right? Like even though you're Jim Lee, no, right? You can't do that, right? There were guardrails, right, where they were just like, do not fuck this up, stop fucking around, tell your story, don't do this, right? And so that's the crazy thing for me, and I just don't. I like where have all the like shepherds gone? Where like you know, because like I mean, even plenty of like writers and artists talk about Batman, you know, back in like the '90s, early 2000s, stuff like that, and they'd be like, hey, you know, your job is to leave the character better than it was when you found it for the next guy, right? Like you're constantly trying to like take Batman to the next level, tell great stories, and then when you leave, he's in a good place for someone else to tell another great story, right? And that just disappeared. Like all those guys just like fucked off, right? Like, and I don't know if it's like the politics. I don't know if it's like, you know, the pressure of like conformity for a lot of these guys, where, you know, like as I watched when I watched the Ringo Awards, and I just like shook my head at these people. I was like, my God, I was like, if this is what like being in mainstream comics or what that club is, I don't ever fucking want to be in it. It was just sad and depressing to me, right? And I was just like, and some of them were such idiots. I was like, I hope you had an open bar to be this fucking stupid and this fucking hate as a human, right? But that's the thing, though, right? Like some of them got canceled, right, Scamps? Like, but like, here's the thing: Mark Miller didn't get canceled, you know. And I even seen there was a guy. He had an interview with some artists, and they were talking about the pressure and the fear. And then there was like one like guy on there, and he was like, "I don't see any of that." And I'm like, "Do you not see anything? Like, what the fuck?" Like. But yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of guys, writers and artists, who just bent the knee, literally, like, you know, and just was like, "Here, take my job." You know, like it should be, you know, this character, you know, even though Black Panther was created by a white guy, I guess it has to be written by black people now. Like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like your skin color does not determine what you can and cannot write, right? Like that's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard, right? And it's just like whether like my thing in life has always been like, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what language you speak, I don't care whatever. Are you making something cool? You making cool art, you making cool comics? I don't care if you're black and you're making cool comics. That's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I care about the work. Like, if you're doing cool shit, I don't care, right? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, that's how it used to be. Like, when we were kids, we didn't know the race or the ethnicity or whatever of the artist. Like, you didn't, like, you know, like I remember hearing kids be like, I think Stan Lee is Jim Lee's dad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know. They didn't know that, like, Stanley Lieberman wasn't related to Jim Lee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't know any of that shit, right? Like that's the thing, right? When you were kids reading comics, you didn't know if the artist was black or white or Asian or whatever, right? You just thought they were good, and you were like, ooh, when I read a Jim Lee book written by Chris Claremont, it's awesome. Like, I love these characters, I love this art, right? The story's super good. You just didn't care about that shit, right? Like, yeah, Stanley wasn't Chinese, and so yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like, I don't know, it's puzzling to me that so many people who supposedly love the craft watched it burn and never said it, right? Like, and it's one thing for like customers to say something and then ignore them, and it's one thing for like literally the sales to just and then still keep ignoring it, right? And it's another for the people who like grew up working in the industry to just watch it burn, right? Like that, like it's very bizarre, like, and so yeah, I don't know, like I don't like I in some ways, like I feel like comics got what they deserve, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like American comics, like I feel in a lot of ways like if the gatekeepers didn't gatekeep, and like, the soldiers didn't soldier, then they left the ground to other people, right? They basically conceded the ground, let it go fallow, and they deserve it. They all fucking deserve it. They deserve, to see a mainstream book sell 5,000 copies, right? Like, they deserve to see Demon Slayer sell 10 million copies. That's all I'm saying. Hey, what's up, Jason? How you doing? Yeah, hey, listen, look, Jason, I put a tie on. I put a tie on for you. Hello. Hello, Jason. We're looking spiffy. We're spiffed up for you tonight, Jason. But yeah, like it's a really bizarre thing, right? And like that's the thing, like indie comics, you might see a handful. Like, this is where I'm going to depress a bunch of people, right? Like indie comics, you might see a bunch of indie comics, but you're going to see very few that like break through to be mainstream, right? You should be aroused, Jason. Oh, you know what I mean? Get in there. Let me arouse you. But like, yeah, it's very bizarre to me to like see where comics, got where they are. You know what I mean? And so yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like, I think that the ground was lost, and I don't think it's ever coming back. Like, I don't think Marvel ever gets back to where it was. I don't think DC does. I don't think Image does. Like, Image has just been this weird like clusterfuck for like 20 years now, right? Hey, what's going on, Noah? We got here. How do you hide all that hair under your cap? That's funny. You're clever, clever. Yeah, Terry Moore. Stop expecting to be bigger than Sonic Hedgehog. Exactly. I mean, but that's like, to me, that's like the delusion of comic book, like that, and that's of its time, right? Like that's of its time. That was before everybody like jumped ship, right? Yeah, right. Like that's the thing. Like in that time, like in the early 2000s, there's a lot of garbage Image books too, right? And like I find modern books, like not specifically right now, but modern in like the 2020 to 2024-ish, a lot of those books look like 2003 Image books. That flat style. Hold on. That flat style. Like with the inks and kind of meh coloring and stuff like that. Like a lot of the GI Joe books and stuff like that. The stuff that like that Roke is like, ooh, I really like this, and I'm like, ooh, all these look like garbage image books from 2003, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a very bizarre and weird situation the comic industry has put itself in, right? Like, because there's always been indie books, right? There's always been the Turtles. There's always been, the quote unquote underground, all that stuff. But like my problem with the way people use underground is underground used to mean like counterculture and subversive, right? Like, now a lot of people say underground when their book looks like shit, right? Like when it looks like a 13-year-old drew it, but the guy's actually 45, right? Like there's like, we're underground, and it's like, like indie or underground comics don't need to look like shit, right? Like you can, like an indie comic book can look like a Marvel comic book, like, a good Marvel comic book, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, right? Like, just because you're independent, just because you're doing something that's kind of off the beaten path, doesn't mean it has to look bad, right? Doesn't mean it should look bad, And that's I just don't like the excuse. You know what I mean? But like that's the thing. Okay, I gotta look and see. There's a whole bunch of chats here. That doesn't sound good. Yep. I got the silent issue, but it's only a 9.6. Throw it in the trash, Sumo. Well, I agree, but like, here's the thing, Jason. Like with the house style, like the safe style, whatever. Back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, like when you had like Joe Mad on X-Men or Carlos Bacalo or like a lot of those people, that wasn't house style. You know what I mean? Like when you had like Darwin Cook doing books, that wasn't house style, and that looked amazing, right? Like, and it's like, house style ended up becoming like image style, sort of like, and then you got a bunch of like Greg Land and a bunch of those guys who were just like tracing photos and shit, right? Like house style became like sort of realistic, kind of bland, safe. I'll agree with that. But like there were still a ton of people in the mix who weren't safe and who were interesting visually, right? Like Laniel Yu, right? Like he was super interesting visually, and he was on like big books, right? Like he had a great style. And I would never consider Laniel Yu house style, right? And his anatomy was great. His perspective was great. And he just had this like really chunky, like angular style, and everything was like, everything looked good. Well, yeah. Well, I think part of the reason though that like everything looks so samey in like Marvel and DC is because like they hired like all those like weird Tumblr artists and all that shit like that. Like, right? Like, so you got that like what became these weird cozy like Tumblr people in comics, right? Like you hired like, and I'm gonna say it, and I mean it. There was too many women in comics, right? Like there's some women who can draw anything, and it doesn't look feminine all the time, right? Like it doesn't look like a girl drew it, And then there are like great female writers, but there was too many of them in what is traditionally a man's space, right? And so when you throw all these women into what's traditionally a man's space, you're going to get less stuff that men like. Like just seriously, like just straight up, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you're going to get more women in comics, like while you're reading the comics, and they're just sitting in a coffee shop talking to each other. No guy wants to read 12 pages in a 22-page comic about two women sitting in a comic book shop. right? Like that, like no, but here's the thing. Yeah, you should be able to draw men and women beautifully, like because like my thing about comics has always been when you're drawing Wonder Woman, she's not supposed to look realistic. She's supposed to be aspirational, right? Like and like when you're drawing like Cyclops or Wolverine, right? You're not drawing a regular dude. You're drawing Wolverine, right? Like he's like 5 foot nothing. He's a brick shithouse, and he's just a murder machine. He's a little murder rat that just runs around killing things, right? Like and Cyclops is like calling like kind of like like a built swimmer body, right? Like he's supposed to be like tall and angular and ripped, right? Like and like all those characters are supposed to be aspirational. You're supposed to like look up to Superman and be like, he's good. He's a good guy, right? Like that kind of thing. Like the characters in the books are supposed to be like Batman is like, supposed to be peak physical condition. What could a man do who was driven and had the money to do it? Right? Like he could just buy the car. He could just build the contraptions or the grappling guns or whatever, right? That's kind of the thing, right? And we lost that, right? Like we lost the aspirational aspect to our heroes, like to comics in general, right? And you're gonna eat a Reese PB&J cup right now. Okay, Sumo, that's delicious. Thank you. But right, like, do you know what I mean? Like when you draw like Wonder Woman, who's like, got a giant ass and like tree trunk legs, but like, whatever. It's like it's not how nobody aspires that. Like I'm not trying to be a jerk or be some kind of weird like body shamer or whatever, right? But like the reality is like but even fat girls don't want to be fat. They just don't. Like, let's be honest, right? Like, and neither do fat guys, right? But like, they look at Superman or they look at like Batman or whatever, and it's aspirational, right? And some people will use that inspiration to make themselves better people, right? Like, they don't have to be Superman or Batman or anything like that, but it's like better than sitting on your ass all day, right? Like, and so yeah, I don't know. I find it all very bizarre, like, right, like that people suddenly were like, oh no, women can't be beautiful. That's like the male gaze, and it's like comics exist because of male gaze for men and women, right? Like, yeah, it's just very bizarre. It's a very bizarre concept, and like. You wonder. My face is super itchy, and if I touch it, I'm gonna rub shit everywhere. Yeah. Yes. Get aspiration. Damn. Hot women tell fat women they're still hot to prevent them from becoming competition. That's probably somewhat true. Heroes are supposed to be heroic. Yes. I also think part of the problem too was the anti-hero. And the deconstruction of heroes, I think, also kind of helped lead to where crap is now, where everybody makes a character who's like edgy and kills and does whatever, and people are like, "Ooh, that's so edgy. Ooh, my edgelord comic," because it. Okay, here's the other thing. Listen, I'm gonna give Jason a compliment here. At least Jason is making a comic book that isn't just Batman. Jason's not putting out his Batman. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing, right? Like, at least some people are out there creating stuff. I can't stand when people are like, well, he's just like Batman. And I'm like, we've got enough fucking Batman to you could read Batman for the rest of your life. And so like that's the thing, right? Like, so at least if you're creating new stories and you have new characters, you get bonus points for me on that, because like and it's like, oh, this is my Superman, this is my patriarch or whatever the fuck you call it. And it's just like, just make something else, Like if you wake up tomorrow and your intention is to make Superman, wait till the fucking copyright it goes free, right? And then make your own Superman, and then let everyone ignore it because they're gonna, because no one cares. But yeah, like make your own shit. That's for sure. Like, always first and foremost, make your own shit. But don't make somebody else's Batman. Don't make your Batman. Don't make somebody else's Batman. Don't do it unless you're working on actual Batman. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like I've said it before. Like, if you have a detective story, you know, with a gumshoe and he goes through the whole case and the whole thing, and it's good, cool. But if you add Batman to that story, it's completely different. There's more context to it. There's more nuance. There's more established history and lore because everybody knows who Batman is, right? So you automatically have a different kind of story. Okay. But yeah, right? Like, I don't know. I find it all ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. You're watching Jason on the Daily? Damn. Batman is average to use. Awesome one. Eat and make your own poo. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do every day. Don't make your Sherlock Holmes either. So I'm getting a peanut butter chocolate ice cream. Damn. Why is everybody getting ice cream and shit? I don't have ice cream. I'm just here, you know, watching the world burn. It's just how it is. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's weird. The whole thing's weird. Yeah, see, Jason doesn't have ice cream either. Everybody out here teasing and taunting us with various ice creams, snacks. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the attitude. You know what I mean? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Somebody get me some ice cream, motherfuckers. You know? You know? You know. Because I don't know. You know what I mean? Might be time to wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. You know, good yelling at all you people. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's make good comics. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Can we get back to making good shit again? Just in general, like everybody, you know? Tell everybody to up their game. That's the other thing I hate too. This is a quick thing. Man, can everybody stop hug boxing? Like, everybody's got the position to tell their friends, their cohorts, their fellows that their shit isn't good or that it could be better, right? Like, if you actually care about your friends, right, and your fellow artists, if they're doing bad shit or if their anatomy's kind of funky or whatever, you can tell them. There's a nice way to do it. You know? You don't have to just say everything's good. Yeah, exactly. Right there. See, Jason says, I dug your Inktober or whatever you called it. Great pieces. Well, some were, yeah, not all of them were. Some of them were garbage. They were pooped out, Jason. And that's kind of the point. That was kind of the point of the exercise, right? Like, to just kind of do something and put it out. But see, that's the thing, right? I welcome critique, criticism, or any of that kind of stuff. You don't get better unless somebody says, hey, I don't like this. And then you go, why didn't you like it? And they go, well, this, that, or the other thing. And you go, cool, I'll keep that in mind. Like, right? Like, I just think we're in a time that is so good right now where we could be just kind of like, everybody could be leveling each other up just by sheer, like, camaraderie, friendly rivalry. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people are wasting that opportunity, that chance. You know, that's it. That's, you know, it's not a big, I'm not out here hating. I don't hate anybody. Never have, you know. It's just one of those things. Like I just see a ton of people wasting the resources they have access to. And I'd like to see everything be better. I'd like to see comics be better. I'd like to see people's art be better. You know, that kind of stuff. That's the thing. I like good art. I like to see good things. You know? Yeah, see, well, that's good. That's good, Jason. That's good. That is good, right? Like, because that's the thing. Like, once you think you know everything, it's over. It's over for you as a creative person. Once you think that you know everything, right? Like, the whole goal is to always be learning, always be moving forward, always be, like, developing your craft, right? No matter what it is. And that's kind of the beauty of being an artist, right? Like, as long as, like, you know, your hands work and all that kind of stuff, like as long as your faculties are still about you, you can still improve, right? Like you've got guys like Mark Silvestri who's still getting better, right? Like, you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of the craft, is that like you're still learning things every fucking day, every time you put that pen to paper. And that's the super important part about all of it. And I just see some people, like even some like pros, quote unquote pros, have just stopped learning. Like their stuff looks the same as it did like 20 years ago, and they just keep pumping out the same, you know. It is what it is, right? Like I'm not living anybody else's life. I don't want to, right? Like, but it's just, I don't know. It's sad to me, like in a way, like where you're just kind of like, man, like you could level up. You could be doing better work. There's all kinds of people around you doing better work. I don't know. Do more work. But yeah, I don't know. With that said, I'm going to. What's Jason saying here? I try to hang out with people I think are more skilled than me, so I can learn from them. Yes, that's a great idea. Like you know what they say: iron sharpens iron. You know, and. It's a good way to learn. You watch Jay streams to learn how to ink, not only source of course, always want diversity in my learning sources. Yeah, don't learn anything about inking from me. I'm a terrible inker. Terrible. Yeah, see, you're skilled in chatting, A1. I agree, 100%. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, everybody. I'm gonna take this stupid wig and makeup off. Have a good night. You know what I'm saying? And I'll leave you with what I always leave you with. The sweet, sweet sounds of ending.
I don't know, you and me are like Coke and icy. Coke and icy. Together, two and two, it will become yummy. Oh, so yummy. You want me, make you happy. I need you right now. Hurt me. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. No homo. I know this sometimes we do talk like a baby. Talk like baby. Finally, I know this, you love me like you love mommy. Love your mother. Coca cannot live icy. Love you like sugar daddy. Motherfucker. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. I don't know, you and me are like Coke and icy. Coke and icy. Together, two and two, it will become yummy. Oh, so yummy. You want me, make you happy. I need you right now. Hurt me. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. No homo. I know this sometimes we do talk like a baby. Talk like baby. Finally, I know this, you love me like you love mommy. Love your mother.